Hello, good day. So today we'll be taking us through the overview of the result templates and settings. So how do we get to this page, or how do we get to the point of the settings and checking the templates? You're going to go to process results. Once you get to process result, we'll select the class that we want to process this result for. From here, you can see the list of exam records that have already been created. How do we get to see the template? You're going to tap the plus button here. Please note that this plus button, once you tap it, it takes you to the page where you see the result template. This is more like you're creating a new exam record template, right? So now when I tap this plus button, it takes me to this page where I see score type, score extended, comment type, tick type, landscape, right? You'll be wondering what all these things are for. Now, the score type is for processing results for students. You're grading them with scores, right? The comment type is you processing results for these students with comments. You're grading them with comments. The tick type means that you're grading the students with tick, not comments, not score. You're grading them with tick. And then the landscape is for a score type result, right? But it is for cumulative, for first term, second term, and third term, everything in one template. This is what this landscape is for. Now let's talk more about the score type and the extended score type. You'll be wondering, why do we have score type, why do we have extended, and why do we have landscape? Now this score type template is for processing results for students. We are grading them with scores, like I said earlier. However, this score type has 17 lines, right? Now for a student that is offering more than 17 subjects and you're using this score type to process the result for this student, it will divide it into two pages. Once it is more than 17, the remaining subjects will go into the second page. And sometimes schools don't like it that way. So since they don't like it that way, that is where the score extended comes in. Now this score extended has more than 17 lines. Just to be sure, let's calculate the lines here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So this extended score extended has 24 lines, while the score type has 17 lines. That is the difference between the score type and the score extended. Also note that the score type has the effective traits, um ratings, and all that, while the score type doesn't have it. That is to say that this score type has, while the extended score type doesn't have it, this score type has this trait, the extended score type doesn't have it, and it has more lines. Score type has the trait and has lesser lines. So that's the difference between this score type and the score extended. Also note that you can use this score type and the score extended to process a cumulative result. This would give you edge. What I mean by it will give you an edge is when you're processing a cumulative result, you can have students that um did not start um in your school from first term. Let's assume they started in second term, and then you also have students that started from first term. Now when you're processing a cumulative result with this score type and this score extended, you'll be able to set it for these students for the number of terms that they did, right? But this landscape does not give you that edge. Whatever score you add to this landscape template would be divided over 3, right? So that is why you have the score type and the score extended, to be able to have an edge, to be able to control how you want this scores to appear, how you want this scores to be divided. That is what this score type and the score extended and the landscape results is for. You can use the landscape for complete cumulative exam or results. If you have students that did not start in your school from first term, please, it is advised to either use the score type template or the score extended, right? Remember the difference between the score type and the score extended. It is the number of lines that each of these templates have. The landscape is for complete cumulative results for first term, second term, and third term. Score type and score extended would give you an edge for you to be able to manipulate the number of terms, or the number of terms you want these scores to be divided into. So that's basically what this is. These templates are for. The comments type, like I said, is when you are grading your student with comments. You can see if there's a difference between these templates here. You can see here it's saying subject comment slash remark, while this one is saying subject, and then this page is where you see the scores and all that. And this one is the tick type, where it just shows you the template, you enter the tick and all that. So this basically is how to use the templates. And also the theme, this theme is automatically in Emerald theme. If you don't want this theme, all you need to do is to just swipe, right? Once you swipe it, it takes you to another theme, the Seal theme. If you don't want this Seal theme, you swipe again and then you go to the Ruby theme. Once you've selected the theme that you want, you click use template, and then it takes you to this page, which we're not going to talk about this. So now we're going to go back to the settings. Now I'm going to use this SS1 template to talk about these settings. So now we have add slash remove exam scores. This is where you come to add scores. So you select the subject and then you add your scores to it, right? There are no students here. I will have to add students so we can understand perfectly. Okay, there are no students in this class. Wow, I think we can do something. So these are the students. You're going to add them to this class. Now save. So we have 8 students here. Now we're having 8 students in this template. So now when you click this option, this is where you're going to add scores to, right? As a teacher, you add your scores to the subjects, and then you click generate report card, and then you generate the results. It is already assumed that you are done adding the scores, so you want to generate results, you use this option. Now we have traits, comments, and custom student settings. This is where you come to, like I talked about earlier, I talked about the cumulative, right? This is where you come to, if it is a cumulative result that you are processing, this is where you come to set the number of terms the scores will be divided into. And then there are other things here. You see the director of studies. This is where you enter the comments, like you have principal's comments, form master's comments, and all that. This is where you add them. And this is also where you set the number of days school opened and the number of days child was present in school. That is to say that if you want the result to show the number of days the child was present in school and the number of days the child was absent, this is where you set it. Number of days school opened, let's assume that school opened 200 days, and the number of days child was present in school, let's say 150. So this student was present in school for 150 days and was absent for 50 days. So now this is where you see the ratings, right? We have the punctuality. If the student is always punctual, you can give the student 5 stars. If this mental alertness is not what you want for the child, you can clear the rating. If you just want it to be 3 stars, you edit it to 3 stars. If you want this one to be 5 stars, any star you want to give the students, you give to these students. Now I'm going to save it. Remember I talked about cumulative, so now I'm going to go to this exam record settings. Now, so we've talked about the traits, custom and student settings. So before you go further, let me go to exam settings and turn on this option here so you get to understand better. So now I've turned this option on. Let me go back to Busayo Adetola. So now we are having number of terms for cumulative. Now let's assume that this student just did first and second term, that is for 2 terms. So I'm going to switch this to 2 terms. That means that this student's results will be divided, the total score will be divided over 2 instead of over 3. You understand? So that is that for traits, custom, and student settings. Now we have subject settings for cumulative exams. This means that, let's assume that from first term I did accounting, I did agricultural science, I did AI knowledge. Second term I did accounting, I did agricultural science, I did AI knowledge. Third term I did accounting, I did agricultural science, but I didn't do AI knowledge. Now by default, these scores, any scores I have for these subjects are being divided over 3, right? Now I don't want my AI knowledge to be divided over 3 because I just did this for just 2 terms, right? I'm going to come to this AI knowledge and then I'll edit these 3 to 2. So once I do this, on my results, my own subjects, my own scores for this AI knowledge will be divided over 2 instead of over 3 because I did it for just 2 terms. So this basically is what this cumulative subject setting is all about. You do this for any of the subjects that you didn't do completely for the session. If it's accessible, maybe you just did it for just one term, all you need to do is to just edit it here and put 1. So any score that is added here will just be divided over 1, not over 2 nor over 3. So this is what the cumulative subject settings is all about. Now this option here, we have add and remove students. So these students you are seeing here are the students in this exam record. Now let's assume that I want to remove Okoro Adichie, number 8. I don't want the student to be in this exam record. All I need to do is to tap the student and then I'll click remove student. Once I click remove students, it's going to remove the students. You can see that I have 7 students here now. So this basically is how to remove students from an exam record. Now if I want to re-add the students, I tap the plus button again. You see I'm having 8 students here in this class, so I'm going to add the students back. Once I click the tick icon, it takes the students back to this place, right, back to the exam record. So this basically is how to add and remove students from an exam record. Let me remove the students so we see what it looks like to understand better. Now we're going to go back to add and remove exam scores. We're going to go to this, so you can see we have just 7 students here. Right now I want to go back and add the students, add students to exam record. I'm going to tap the plus button and then I'm going to add the students back. Now the student has been added successfully. Let me go back to add and remove scores. So you can see I have 8 students here. So this is how to navigate the option of add and remove students. Please also note that in this place where you add scores, there's an option for you to add students as well, add and remove students. So if you don't want to take the long route, you can just use this option here to do it. Please note where I tapped this 3 dot icon here at the top is where you would go to do so. So now let's go to the next one. We have the archive record. So this archive record, this is an exam record that has been created. Now I don't want this exam record to show here in this list of exam records, right? I want to archive it. I'm going to start the exam record and then I'm going to click archive record. It's going to tell me your exam record will be archived and no longer available for further modifications unless unarchived. I'm going to click archive. Now this result has been archived, this exam record has been archived, and you can see that it is no longer showing in this list. Where do I go to get it back? I'll go to archive records. Once I get to archive records, I'll scroll to the bottom, then I'll tap the exam record and click on archive records. Then that is it. The record has been unarchived and this is it here. So that's that for the archive record. So please take note of this. You see this option is saying not published. This exam record is saying not published. So how do I publish it? I'm going to tap this and then I'll go to publish record. Once I go to publish record, it says this exam record will be published and made available for viewing by parents and students. I'm going to click publish. So once that is done, I'll go back. It will change the position to publish to School Connect. That means that parents can see these results, can see this exam record on their child's profile on the School Connect app, and they'll be able to open it and view results for their child. If I don't want them to be able to do that yet, I'll unpublish it just like that. That is what this publish and publish exam record is all about. Now we're going to go to exam settings. So this is where we come to let's assume that you don't want this SS1 title. You don't want it to be like this. You don't want this name. You want to change it. This is where you come to. Let's say you want it to be Muslim, right? And then you don't want it to be 2023 2024 session. You want it to be 2024 2025 session. You select the session here, right? You don't want it to be term 2. You want it to be maybe term 3 or term 1. Just select it. Now you don't want this you can see here it's saying select report card template, like we talked about earlier. You don't want this score type template. You want it to be extended score type. Please note that you cannot switch between a score type result template to tick type or comment type. We can switch between score type, score extended, and landscape, but you can't switch between score type and comment type. You see the option, the message that came out. result template, let me type it again. Result template cannot be updated once selected. Once I click this, it will not even work, but I can click this and then it will work, and I'll click use template. Do you understand? Now I don't want this, I want this, so I will click use template, and it says you're about to switch from score type to extended score type. This could disorganize results already generated for this particular class. Just click continue. It's just a preventive measure to confirm that you know exactly what you want to do. So I've selected score type, extended score type, right? Now the next thing it's asking me is to update my examination score settings. So I'm going to tap it, and then here I have 100 maximum obtainable score, and I have test 1 20, test 2 20, exam 60. So let's assume that I don't want my test 1 to be 20, I want it to be 15. I'm going to click 15. You make sure that whatever it is you're saving here, whatever scores you're adding here, should equate the maximum obtainable score that is over 100. So now I'm going to do test 2 15, and then exam 70 to make it 100. You can decide to make it lesser than this. You can also decide to turn on these other buttons and then add your score settings to them. That's okay. So now I'm going to just work with this. So you can see what I have here. 15 15 is 30 plus 70, that's 100. So I'm going to save it. I've done that. Now I'm going to select the grading system. This is where you come to select the grading system you want for this result. We have the simple letter grading system, the American grading system, the American grading system 2, and WAEC grading system. You can see the difference here. Simple letter grading system is it grades A to F. That's A. Let's open it to see. So this is it. F, E, D, C, B, A, right? This is the grading. Now we go back and then we select American grading system. We're going to see what it looks like. Grade F, D, C, C minus, C plus, B minus, B plus, A minus, A plus. So this is what this looks like, the American grading system. Now we're going to look at the American grading system too, to see the difference between all these templates. See grade F, grade D, grade C, grade B, B plus, A plus. That is what the American grading system looks like. Now we have the WAEC grading system, which we are going to open to see what it looks like. We have grade F9, E8, D7, C6, C5, C4, B3, B2, A1, right? And you have the remarks for each of them. So F9 is fail, E8 is pass, D7 is pass, C6 is credit, C5 is credit, C4 is credit, B3 is good, B2 is very good, and then A1 is excellent. So we're going to use our WAEC grading system. So I'll click the tick icon and then I'll save it. You can see that it has gone back to WAEC grading system. So here we have the option that says show class position. What does this mean? If you turn this, but this button is already turned on, it means that when you generate this result, it's going to show this position for this student, right? What the student got in the whole class. If you have 50 students and the students got 50, it's going to show on the result sheet that the student came 50 out of 50 students, right? Now you have the subject positioning, right? This means that it's going to show the position for each of the subjects that the students um took, right? That is say that if the student took exam for English language and got, let's say, 100 over 100 in that English, that means that her subject positioning will be first. She'll come first in the subject position. Out of all the people that did the same English that she did, she came first. That is what the subject position is talking about. Now, show promoted to in report card. This is basically for third term, right? When a student is supposed to be promoted to the next class for next term, that is for September, right? You turn on this button here. Once you turn this button on, it starts showing in the child's exam record that this child has been promoted to. So you can see that this is SS1, which I've already changed the template, the name. This is we don't want this child to be in SS1 anymore. Obviously, the child is going to be in SS2 next session. So you are turning on this button so that it will show, right? That's that for promoted to. So it's going to show in the child's report card the child has been promoted to SS2. Now we talked about the cumulative, and I said that if you turn this button on, right, it divides the score over three terms. It says number of terms for cumulative exams over 3. You can, please note that you can process cumulative results for 2 terms, provided you are using the score type and the score extended like I explained earlier, right? Now we have the other one here, which says set current term resumption date, current term closing date. This is for this term that we are already in. When did you resume and when did you close? This is where you set it. This is for current term resumption date, and this is for current term closing date. Then next term's resumption date is what you're going to set here. It's already set. If you want to edit, there's also an option to do that. You edit it the way you want it. Now the other option is to show lowest and highest in class. That's show lowest and highest average, show lowest and highest in class. If you want this to show in the result, you turn them on. Once you turn them on, they will show in the result sheet when generated, but I don't want them on, so I'm going to leave it off. So this one says calculate position sequentially, e.g. first, second instead of first, third. What this means is that some schools prefer to calculate their scores in a way that if they have 5 students and let's say 3 students came first, right, it's going to calculate first, second, then third. Then there are also schools that prefer if these 3 students came first, it will then be first, third. That is to say that the fourth person is now coming third. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Let me explain again. In a school, let's assume that this school, they don't want they have, let me use another example, they have 5 students in their class and 2 students came first. All right, they want it to be calculated in this format. These 2 students came first, so this third person coming before them is now going to get second. Do you understand? That is first, second. 2 students got first, then the third person is getting second. There are other schools that will prefer it to be if 2 students get first in class, the third person coming behind them would then get third instead of second. That is what this place is just trying to explain. Sequentially, do you want it to calculate sequentially? If you turn this button off, it's going to calculate it to be first, third instead of first, second. If 4 people got first in that class, it's going to be first, fifth, if I'm not mistaken. Fifth or be fourth, I think. So that's basically what this place is talking about. That is the way it works. Now we have another one, show number of students in class and class section. This means that you want the number of students in this class to show in the result sheet, right? If you want that, you turn this button on. I'm going to turn on this sequentially, sorry. So if you want that, you turn this button on. If you don't want it, you turn it off, right? If you don't want the total number of students to show in the class, you turn this button off. If you want it to show, you turn it on, right? Now this other option here says number each subject in the report card. What this means is that when you generate results, right, it just shows the list of the subjects. It doesn't number it. Now if you turn on this button, it's not going to show if English language is coming is the one at the top, it will not be number 1, mathematics number 2, maybe financial accounting number 3. You understand? It will number the subjects instead of just leaving it like that. So this other one here says class teacher's name. So if you want the class teacher's name to show in the report card, that is to say that it's going to show the name of the teacher that processed this result. This is where they are going to type it. Just type your name here, class teacher's name, and then you save it. So this basically is how to navigate this part of the exam record. We are not done yet. I'm going to show you one more thing. So here at the top here, we have a 3 dots icon. You'll be wondering what this is about, right? Let's assume that this exam record, you mistakenly created it in the wrong class and you don't want to delete it to start creating again. You just want to move it to the right class. All you need to do is to tap this 3 dot icon, right? And then you click update class. Now remember this result is in SSK3, so you want to maybe switch it to JSS2, then click move record. Once you've done that, you use the tick icon at the top to save it, and that will be it. That is how to set this. Now the last thing on our list is lock and unlock exam settings. Like I said earlier, we talked about adding scores, generating reports card, traits, comments, and student settings and all that. Now this place, when you open this page, you see these options here: edit, add/edit exam scores, generate report cards, custom student settings, add and remove students, exam settings. So what the brain behind this is, a school owner would likely be the one to create an exam record. Some schools would prefer to be the ones, some school owners would prefer to be the ones to create the exam record by themselves, right? And once they are done creating it, they don't want another person to go and edit the settings that they have set. So that is where this lock exam settings comes in. Once you log this and save it, you're going to go back and see what it looks like. When you go to exam settings, you see that it has a lock key. When you tap it, it will tell you that the option is currently locked. Please unlock it first to continue. So you, that is a teacher that is not an admin, would not be able to access this. So the admin will have to give you the permission or unlock it for you to be able to access this exam settings. Likewise, the other options here, where we have add and edit exam settings. Let's assume that teachers have already added their scores and all that. They've processed these results. Now the school now doesn't want them to go back and edit the scores. What they do is to turn this on. Once you turn this button on and you go back, you're going to see this option here that once you tap it, it tells you that this option is currently locked. So likewise, every other option here, once you turn them all on, you will not be able to access anything here, right? Everything here will be turned, that is, everything will be locked. If you try to generate report card, you will not be able to do so. So some school owners would prefer to be the ones to generate the result by themselves, because obviously there will be some parents that are owing school fees, and if a teacher is kind of if a teacher likes a particular student and though the student has not made payments, they would like to try to show them the results and they will be able to generate the result. But once this option is locked, the teacher would not be able to generate result because it is locked. Likewise, it traits custom and student settings. If you've already added your comments, added everything you want for the students, you would lock it. Nobody will be able to access it again. Likewise, the add and remove student from exam record. The only option here available is the archive and publish exam record, which only admins can do, right? If you want to archive this record as a teacher, it will tell you that you are not an admin, so you can't perform this action. Likewise, publishing of exam record, it is only admins that can do it. So if you try to click publish record, it will tell you that you're not an admin, so you don't have access to this. So this basically is what the exam settings is all about, and the result templates that we talked about earlier. So that's basically what it's all about. Thank you.